Hey everyone, I just wanted to jump on and give you a quick word as led by the Father. Let us just say a quick prayer. Father, I thank you for today. I thank you for your love, your grace, your mercy, your revelation. Father, I ask that you decrease me, Father, so that you may be increased and touch those that you have destined to touch through this word and this revelation today. I ask that you bless everyone under the sound of my voice, that you increase them in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and Father, that you will speak to them through this word in their each individual lives. We thank you and give you praise in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, the Christ, your Son. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Okay, so I won't be long. This word comes from Daniel chapter 3. And what basically happened in this chapter was King Nebuchadnezzar, he had a dream. And the dream was basically him seeing a big tree. This tree was huge. You could see this tree from all ends of the earth. It provided shelter for animals. It was a home for birds. It had fruits of every kind. This tree was just great and awesome. And basically an angel came down and declared that the tree must be cut down. And the tree was cut down. It was cut down, the animals scattered, the birds left, the fruit was everywhere, dew fell on it, but even though the tree was cut down, the root was maintained. It was secured and maintained. So when King Nebuchadnezzar woke up, he called for his magicians and everyone basically who he had to determine mysteries such as this, and he asked them what the meaning was, but none of them could. So of course he called the servant of the Most High God, Daniel, and asked him to interpret the dream because he knew that Daniel served the Most High God. So Daniel gave him the interpretation, which was basically saying that the tree was likened unto the king. And Daniel was, he was sad because he said, if only this was for your enemies, but this is for you, king. And he pleaded with the king to change his ways, be more kind to people, give to the poor, just to change his ways altogether. Anyway, so fast forward towards the end of the chapter, King Nebuchadnezzar was basically walking on top of the roof of his building. He's looking at his entire kingdom and he's like, I did this, Look at what I did. No one else but me did this. And immediately there was a voice from heaven. The judgment came to pass and the dream became a reality. Now there's so many different revelations that you can get from this chapter. But the one I wanted to focus on was how we have to be so careful. King Nebuchadnezzar was full of pride. He was full of pride, and there's so many scriptures that talk about, pride cometh before a fall. And God does not like when people are proud, but basically he is gracious to those who are humble. And I think that we should all remember to be humble. We should all remember to be humble. There is nothing, listen, when you read this chapter, which I recommend you do, I think I said Daniel chapter 3. I'm so sorry. It's Daniel chapter 4. Daniel chapter 4. One second. I'm just making a note here so I remember as well. Daniel chapter 4. We have to be so careful because in this, throughout this entire passage, we can see how the Father is all powerful. When I say that Nebuchadnezzar was cut down like a tree, his likeness became unto like an animal. For 7 years, he thought like an animal. He moved like an animal. He was separated from people until he chose to give the Father the glory that he deserved, the glory that he tried to steal. We should have absolutely no desire to share and take the Father's glory. It belongs to him. And this might be a tough lesson for some people, but it's not about you. And it's not about me. It's about the Father who worketh in us. And if you're someone who's grown up, put in a lot of value in your accomplishments and what you've done, then it might be a bit difficult to change your mindset, but you can do anything with Christ. You can do anything with Christ. He can touch your mind. He can change your mindset, lest he has to humble us, right? So I believe that this word is for the person or persons who are putting value into things that they have done. Do not be prideful. Instead, be humble and realize that even if you went and you worked to the sweat of your brow, as some of us like to say, who gave you the energy to work? Who provided you with the opportunity to work? Also know this, even though King Nebuchadnezzar was not serving the Father allowed the kingdom to be given into his hand. That means every person on this earth, whether they are saved or not, and they're still alive, they ought to be grateful. They ought to be grateful and thankful to the Most High God, because they didn't do it on their own. The Father allows things to happen. He has the power to do it. And when I say allow things to happen, I know a lot of people might be like, oh, so why did this happen to me? Why did that? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the rulership of nations. I'm talking about people who you may be like, oh, they didn't deserve that. That shouldn't have happened. How did they get it? The Father allowed it to happen. There are many different reasons why he moves the way he does, and you cannot understand it. No one can contain it. The word says that his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and his ways are higher than our ways. So it doesn't make sense trying to split it down and be meticulous and psychoanalyze everything he does, because you won't be able to figure it out. None of us can. It's beyond what we can fathom. The whole point is this: be grateful. Give thanks where it is due. You didn't do it on your own. It is because of the Father. You did not do it on your own. Do not be like King Nebuchadnezzar, who he has to take through certain experiences in order to be humble. And if it has to happen, it has to happen. But I will be like Daniel today, and I will ask you, if you are not being kind to people, if you're not being grateful, if you are oppressing the poor, if you have removed the Father from your life, I'm asking you, as Daniel did with King Nebuchadnezzar, to start to change your ways. That's the beauty about life. Once you're alive, you have hope. You can change what it is you're doing. And you can ask the Father to come and to touch your mind. And if you have not served him before, this is a wonderful time to start. But you have to want to do it. You have to want to do it. If you want, we can say the prayer right now. You can say, Father, I come to you, and I ask you to forgive me for my sins. I no longer desire to live a life that is not pleasing to you, but I desire to serve you, and I give my life to you, knowing that you sent your Son, the Christ, to die for me. So I ask you to come into my life, to order my steps, and I give my life over to you. In the name of Yahushua, the Christ, hallelujah. If you've just said that prayer, that means you gave your life to the Father. But only say it if you mean it. Only say if you really want to. One thing that Yahushua never did, the Son of God, is he never forced anyone to walk after him. It was always a choice. You have a choice. But if that is your choice today, I'm telling you, it is the best decision that you made. It does not mean your life will be perfect, but it means that you have victory in all things with Christ. It means that the Father will protect you. He will walk with you. He will correct you. He will teach you, and he will take your life and he will mold you into who you were supposed to be. The process may be challenging because some of it may be uncomfortable, but he has the power to help you along with it. And it will also be one that's enjoyable because you will be able to walk in the promises that he has for you in your life. So I pray that I've touched you today. I pray that this has ministered to you. And let us just always be grateful and thankful for life. And let us always remember that everything that we have, we would have never had it without God. It would have been impossible. The apartment, the house, the vehicle, the job, your health, the fact that you didn't die when you could have, your children. Give thanks to God. Okay, have an awesome day, and I wish everyone a wonderful week. Bye.